How many of you have tried things you haven't tried before? I have. I'm still doing it. And how many of you have said that you know what will be the end result of your new journey? I'm sorry to say, but those of you who raised your hands, myself included, you have lied. By definition, you cannot know where the road will take you when you are trying something new. You can only guess. The reason we lie can differ. I believe that I need to lie to convince my counterparts to trust me, to trust that I know the way, to trust that I have all the answers, to trust that I have a brilliant plan. It's a paradox. In order to do new things, you must gain trust of others by actually lying. I have been in marketing for over 12 years. You could think it's about ideas, but it's not. It's actually just about getting people to work together. It doesn't matter on how many PowerPoint slides or Word document pages you create. It doesn't matter if you describe your idea in 5, 200, 500, or 1,000 proofs. If there isn't trust, it won't matter. But we don't talk about it aloud. It's impossible to perfectly know where a new road will take you. But still, the majority of our time in business meetings, we play this theater. We show detailed reasoning how brilliant is our plan, and write detailed documents to justify that we know the unknown. Somehow, talking about rational feels like a thing adult would do. But when you look at kids, what would they say? They don't write documents before they jump into a new game. And instead of 30-slide PowerPoint presentation, they just jump into the unknown. They start new things with just saying, let's try. So why do we, rational adults, try to create trust with layers of documents and presentations? Why do we start new ideas with lawyers and financial controllers? But kids, they just kick off their new ideas by trusting each other. I have always liked this visual idea, where on how we plan something and how it actually happens. It's rational, but I think it's incomplete. It lacks a third drawing to show the process how it really is. The actual process is a mess. I often compare it to a pinball machine, where you are tossed all over the place. Sometimes you feel like there's no certainty left. You just try to survive to get to that damn point B. And when you reach the point B, you tell others that it all went according to the plan. The biggest setbacks aren't because something wasn't thought out rationally. If something wasn't, it's an easy and fast fix. The biggest setbacks are emotional obstacles: fear, resentment, distrust. Like when a colleague asks for detailed guidelines and roadmap of what must be done further, nevertheless, no one has done this before. You can have 100 versions of the paper and still no one is happy. When a partner tells you that this approach has been tried 2 times before and it won't work. In my experience, sometimes something doesn't work for the first 249 times. And the thing is, you must be able to actually listen to others and just wait when they finish and then you start. Be patient, it's a hard thing to do, and try to resolve conflicts, not win every argument. It's really hard And I know for myself, it's really painful. You can get over the setbacks only by working together and trusting others. Whenever, and most of the times when you don't trust others and do it alone, you hit a dead end. So the picture should be the actual, messy, emotional process where we don't know everything, if anything, the rational journey, how we remember it, and the perfect, easy success, how we tell stories about it. That's actually the reason why I don't like advertising festivals. Everyone shares shining success stories and show case study talks that the journey went by the plan. But it actually never goes that way. And then, when the festival after party comes, everyone admits that they barely achieved any results, customers didn't trust the creatives, project manager didn't trust the film crew, and the company manager constantly asked for status updates. But somehow, when the success story has to be shared, we celebrate the rationalized lies to each other. If I have to think of some examples of my own experience, these two stand out the most. 9 years ago, with a friend, I made an online initiative platform, Monoballs, that translates as My Voice. It was made to give power to the people. The platform allowed to come up with legislation initiatives and collect signatures. In case of reaching the necessary threshold of signatures collected, the initiative would be sent to National Parliament for discussions and voting. In just first year of operation, the White House, the New York Times, the European Commission, and others said that it has led Latvia to be one of the leaders in open democracy. It took a year to build the platform, but 80% of our time and resources were put in technology. It was spent in creating trust to get a bunch of very different people from government, NGOs, and business world to work together. I think the only reason why we pulled it off was because we just didn't pretend like we have a plan. We just said, hey, we have a goal. We don't know how to do it. I remember the first couple of meetings with the Parliament's chief legal officer. That was fun, but he was a really nice, great guy. We had to spend together many hours of work just to overcome the "this has never been tried before and will not work" argument. Only when the Parliament's chief legal officer started to trust me, we finally started to work and look for solutions. And so it went with every single partner. After we gained trust, it became simple and fast. Or another example of an NGO called Platz, or Shoulder. 4 years ago, I started the NGO to solve the orphanage problem and help resolve many child welfare policy problems. In just 3 years, the number of children in orphanages dropped 30–40%. There are major reforms, bigger investments in families, and the system started to become much more human. Our approach is to find what already works in the world and search what science has discovered. Then we pilot new approaches, scale them in the system, and work on marketing. That's the easy part. None of the above has been an actual obstacle. But we could have reached way, way more than we have now. Only if there wasn't the biggest obstacle: distrust and resentment. If we could just get people, different people together and say, let's just try, just like kids do, we'll have been way further. I have learned in my whole experience that you can move much, much faster if you approach through trust. But in all of that experience, I have had only one such project, only one. My lovely wife, Eva. We didn't meet in a bar to start working on a detailed contract with all the roles, responsibilities, and everything. And we didn't put together 100 slides with 5 different scenarios. No. We approached each other through trust. I met her in a bar. We went for a weekend trip. On Monday morning, I gave her keys to my apartment. She moved in. In a month, I met her parents, and we have been together for 10 years already. Trust matters. Everything is about to change and happen completely differently if you approach through trust instead of distrust. Can we do something to trust each other? To understand how to approach this, I asked people way, way smarter than me. Psychiatrists, sociologists, and many more experts in the field. Science shows that it all starts from pregnancy till 2-3 years of age. That's the most efficient time when to learn these abilities. Just like language. The later you start, the harder and more painful it gets. What does it mean? Is the only way to wait for generations to change? Because let's be honest, a miracle won't happen, and we adults suddenly tomorrow won't be able to magically trust each other, truly listen to others, be patient and empathetic. And I don't believe highly paid corporate trainers can teach these abilities. Trust is a habit, and to teach a habit is a very, very hard and very, very expensive job to do. So this issue of trust truly sounds unresolvable. But my thoughts changed quite dramatically almost 5 years ago. I met 2 best coaches of my life. I must admit they completely changed my perspective. And I want you to meet my 2 very professional personal trainers, Grieta and Alma. My daughters have been my greatest teachers in trust, and they taught me the abilities that makes me the professional I am today and why I have been asked here to stand. If you can resolve a conflict with a 3-year-old, you can manage any problem situation and any adult group. And not only that, I want my girls to be able to understand their emotions, to be able to listen to others, be patient, be focused, and understand what's the reason why actually someone doesn't play according to their rules, why someone is behaving badly. And that common good, for example, family, is much better than self-interest. And the funny part is that by explaining and teaching these abilities to my daughters, I have accidentally started to truly learn them myself. I have changed my perspective on how I see other people, well, most of the time. But I'm still learning. I start to see others not just as someone trying to make my life harder, but as people with needs that are usually just not met. Research shows that kids make parents more productive even in their careers. Parents excel at negotiation, compromising, multitasking, patience. And we all know this. But we need to try to be better to actually do it. Not by giving everything up for children, but actually spending at least 10 mindful minutes a day with them. But often we lack even this. I'm a great example of this too. Over the past these few weeks, I have spent too much time thinking and practicing my TED Talk about how important it is to spend your time with the kids, that I haven't actually done it. We tend to give such importance to things that we know are not so important. Don't get me wrong. It's not about giving your whole life to your kids. I wouldn't be able to do that, and it isn't necessary. I just tend to practice every day when coming home to put away my phone, to put away my worries, and just be there with my daughters. And do what they want. Lie with them on the ground, play their games, actually look into their eyes, not just talk with them and look at my phone. Hold their hands, laugh at their jokes. And I do it not only because I want them to grow better and healthier and happier people, but I want to help myself too. At least 10 minutes per day. I think it's not a huge sacrifice, and I don't ask a lot. Trust matters, and children can be the greatest teachers. But there's one more angle to it. We are not perfect. At least I am quite far from it. Individually, we fail. If we are honest, parents are destined to fail at something. We are strong only together as a society. To have trust, the most efficient teachers are kids. But to get through it, we must practice as a society too. And that's actually the messy part, because we have been pretty bad at it. And I would suggest a new approach. What if, just if, we don't put the economy as the epicenter of everything, but child policy? But a child policy that isn't about what kind of benefits parents will receive, but about kids themselves. As I said, I come from the marketing field, a field where you have sophisticated methods, science, measurements, predictions, resources, and it's all to sell you mostly crap. When I look at the child policy systems around the world, they don't stand even close to what we do in marketing. In comparison, they seem hopeful, not purposeful. What if we would demand that purposeful, sophisticated child policy system is what we want, where every child, not just my own, could realize its potential? Humanity has been the greatest when it's selfless, but these have been usually only separate events. What if we mindfully put not only our kids, but all kids as the center of a policy? A mindful, systematic, selfless act. What could happen? I challenge at least myself to practice trust 10 minutes a day with my kids. And I truly believe that if we all would take that challenge, even our work lives would become better. We would really start to listen to each other, like far from what we are doing now. Our productivity would skyrocket. Everything would become better, even the damn economy. So, I want to leave you with a question. Where would you invest your 10 minutes? Thank you.